Drive a right-winger crazy. Help build a home of progressives by becoming a TYT member. Click the link in the description box below.
A super PAC in Arkansas is running a radio ad that is standing out for all the wrong reasons. Let's listen.
What do you think about what's happening in Washington?
Our Congressman French Hill and the Republicans know that it's dangerous to change the presumption of innocence to a presumption of guilt, especially for black men. If the Democrats can do that to a white justice of the Supreme Court with no evidence, no corroboration, and all of her witnesses, including her best friend, say it didn't happen, what will happen to our husbands, our fathers, or our sons when a white girl lies on them?
Girl, white Democrats will be lynching black folk again.
Honey, I've always told my son, don't be messing around with that. If you get caught, she will cry rape.
I'm voting to keep Congressman French Hill and the Republicans because we have to protect our men and boys. We can't afford to let white Democrats take us back to bad old days of race verdicts, life sentences, and lynchings when a white girl screams rape.
Paid for by Black Americans for the President's Agenda. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
So it is indeed not authorized by any candidates, and in fact, the Republican that is being spoken of favorably in that ad, French Hill, put out this tweet denouncing it. Sort of, it's still going on. He's still benefiting from it, but he says he condemns it, so that's something.
Yeah, he might be benefiting from it, but if I suspect that if a lot of African Americans that listen to that, I go for benefiting the president's agenda. I don't know about that.
For context, this district is 23% African American.
And you know your ad might be racist if you have an African American woman saying "girl," okay, in your ad. By the way, they do it in every single Republican ad when they're trying to appeal to African American voters. We've now covered endless ads where there's pretending to be part of the black community. They said every one of them has "girl." Please spare me.
I think first of all, who the hell are the two black women who did the ad? They must be the cousins of Cuban zirconia and cotton. Y'all know them as diamond and silk. I don't call them that. But so you got that. But first of all, this particular PAC, they are the Black Americans for the President's Agenda PAC. This guy Vernon Robinson, he's out of South Carolina, North Carolina, one of the Carolinas. Yeah. And this guy here, he's former city councilman, clearly is nuts. And so my bookers told me a few minutes ago that he's going to be on my show on Monday, and I can't wait to hear him. But here's the thing that people need to understand: white Republicans have no problem throwing several $100,000 at folks like him. Raynard Robinson also had this PAC, and the Mercers who funded Breitbart were his biggest donors. He came on my show talking about, oh no, we've got thousands of donors. I'm like, nah, you actually have about 3, and that's what they do. And so they will find that one Negro using that word on purpose to do these type of ads, and then but when you listen to it, please show me. We talk about criminal justice reform. The biggest opponent of criminal justice reform. It's from Arkansas, Senator Tom Cotton, who blocked it. Who right now is even trying to stop the limited criminal justice reform that Jared Kushner is pushing? Senator Tom Cotton. And so all this nonsense about, then of course, they're trying to harken back to, well, Democrats in the South in terms of these racial systems. Please tell me which Supreme Court justices nominated by Republicans or Democrats had no problem when you had DAs who were excluding blacks from juries, who were involved in that, and people who were running. See, this is how sinister it is. And when you start breaking down actual facts, that's what they don't want to deal with. They don't want to confront that because it exposes their actual agenda.
Yeah. And one other thing I'd like to add, so in terms of facts, they might, so it's called, it's Black Americans for the President's Agenda. So you might think, oh, grassroots African-American organization. They're just funding small dollar donations. Some black woman in Georgia gives $5, that sort of thing. It turns out not to be the case. So I was curious about that, and I looked on Open Secrets this morning, and they don't have that many donors. Everybody seems to have given between $250 and $1,000. And I scanned over the list of names. This is totally unscientific. But the name struck me as pretty white, just from looking over it.
Yes,
so that's
I
as
did
much
too,
research.
and I concur.
Yeah. So look, I don't know.
Roland says it.
Sustained.
Yes, that's right.
I don't know most of these people, but thankfully others have looked into some of the names that gave that $1,000, and it includes a lot of wealthy white conservatives, including GOP mega donor and billionaire Charles B. Johnson, the retired chairman of Franklin Resources Inc., and the principal owner of the San Francisco Giants baseball team, who gave $1,000. Other top donations include $1,000 from Trish Duggan, an artist and the wife of pharmaceutical billionaire Robert Duggan, $1,000 from Arthur Tim Choate, and his nickname's Tim, an investor and game fishing enthusiast. Oh God, maybe he knows the guy you were talking about.
I bet he does.
And $1,000 from investor Norman Waite Jr.
No one with the nickname Tim is anything but white. Your nickname is Tim? Okay, all right, anyway.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, guys, that's how these groups work.
Yep.
They find a front man who is unethical enough, dumb enough, or both, to say, oh, you're gonna give me a piece of the action? Yep, give me your money, and that's all you got. Those $1,000, no big deal. The $250 to $1 million, that's the real deal, okay? And they go, okay, now your job is to try to convince other African Americans that we're on their side when you know we're not on their side, and we're looking to screw them in every possible way. Now go do as you're told.
It's the same thing you see with Turning Point USA and Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk. By the way, they've been challenging everybody else to a debate. I've been hitting them for 4 months, and they won't even respond to it. I wonder why. Because you know, if you debate this black man, it's not gonna go over the same as you will when you're talking to Sean Hannity. But see, that's what they do. And so they'll trot out people. And look, I know the game. Look, I could have been a mega millionaire decade ago if I said, you know what? I'm gonna go on television and trash black people. Okay? They'll prop up Jesse Lee Peterson. They'll prop up Larry Elder. They'll prop up a Candace Owens. We've seen this thing. It's always the new one. And what's a trip? Real black conservatives can't stand people like this. Because they don't actually want to talk to Angela and Elroy Saylor. They don't want to talk to Kay James of the Heritage Foundation or J.C. Watts or Michael Williams or Alfonso Jackson. They don't want to deal with them. Their deal is, no, let's get that person who's gonna do ass like this, say crazy stuff, and they go, see, we found one. And I've long said, Republicans could actually pick up black support if you had a real agenda and you weren't oppressing black folks when it came to the vote. But as long as you suppress the vote, you are not going to get black folks supporting your agenda, ever.
Yeah. Look, Jack Kemp was a relatively honest actor, and you could have had real conversations with conservatives back in the day. But we don't live in that world anymore. And so why do you think they picked Candace Owens? How many African Americans are smart, care about politics, have studied it, et cetera, et cetera? No, they picked the one person who'd raise their hand and said, I'll say whatever you need me to say. Right?
And also, I mean, look, obviously they do it in different racial ways, but they do it in other groups too. I mean, you brought up Turning Point USA. They want to attack millennials. They've got a bunch of really old conservatives that'll give a bunch of money to some dope who's willing to go on TV and say bad things about millennials. Tommy Lauren is making a career off that as well. Like every group, they just want a person from the group that they can stand behind as a shield and launch the attacks against those people that they want to do.
So next week, Turning Point USA, they've got a conference for young black conservatives. Guess who is going to be showing up? With cameras. I have a show that targets black people. Surely they want to talk to someone like me. We'll see.
Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.